30 seconds. Get yourself ready and prepared because it's Winning Wednesday right here. We have quite the lineup, if I may say so. Share this with your friends. Like it, follow it, post it, whatever you got to do because we're winning today with Defense Ventures and IntelliLocker. That's right. Look at these. Look at these two. Boom, boom, boom. I got Garrett right here. I got Chris right here. We're ready to rock right here on Winning Wednesdays with yours truly, Trigger Jordan, here with Morpheus. We like to bring you the wins of the innovation space across the Air Force, and we're not joking about doing it, so we're just diving straight into it because it is worth it 100%. As we welcome two of our friends. Listen, we just had an awesome episode, truly an awesome episode over on Disruptive AF, just like a little bit ago. But today on Winning Wednesday, I wanted to be able to at least dive into highlights, the wave tops of the wins taking place in Defense Ventures Fellowship, the importance of what that has been because it's impacting people all across the DoD. Literally, 240 some? Was that right, Chris? 240 some?
Yep.
240 people? Come on. Changing the world, starting one person at a time. Over to the wins to you guys because there's a lot. First off, for those who don't know, Defense Ventures Fellowship, what is it? I know they can go watch the Disruptive AF podcast, and they should. But what is it for those who don't know right now?
Yeah, so Defense Ventures Fellowship is a 8-week opportunity. Well, Chris, you want to dive into some of the logistics with the companies?
You give the headline. I'll do the sub bullets.
I love it. This is great. All right, I'll do the easy part. So Defense Ventures Fellowship is an opportunity for you as a DoD member to get involved with industry, academia, nonprofits, get some hands-on experiential learning, get some relationships you would have never had an opportunity to get before, some training you would have never been able to get before, and then come back to your unit and bring those skills, relationships, knowledge back and implement them in your unit. That's the tagline. Pass it over to the money man to give us the real rundown. Chris, over to you, man.
Yeah. So that's what it is. How it works is it's an 8-week program. There's 2 weeks in the front end that's part-time experience. Then there's 6 weeks where you're embedded with a venture capital or technology startup in the United States, working side by side on their problems, not your problems. You can work on your problems at a different time, but this is about helping them run their business and gaining as much experience as possible. At the same time, we have a curriculum that you go through that gets you up to speed real fast. One of the things I think we're most proud of is, back in the early cohort days, cohort 1, they'd get up to speed around week 5. And I think we're getting that down to like week 3. So if you could imagine starting a job and actually being a valuable contributor to the organization 3 weeks in, it is because of the way that we've instrumented the ecosystem. So you get sessions with venture capitalists, you get sessions with founders, you get sessions on creativity, you get really riveting deep dives on the tech acquisition process and understanding all the little nooks and crannies of how a company works with the federal government.
Yeah, that's not nothing. Like that's huge. That's a lot. That's a lot of goodness that has taken place.
Yeah.
But real quick, for anybody else who is still being stubborn and has not gone and won't go watch the Disruptive podcast, why is this so important for military members, DoD-wide, regardless of the branch? Why is it so important to understand what this commercial aspect entity is? And what is that kind of return on investment when you think about a commander sending his person to an opportunity like this?
Yeah, I'll tackle this maybe from a little bit of a selfish perspective. Talk about a little bit of what AFWERX gains. Yeah, love that. Love getting selfish. So I'll talk a little bit about AFWERX gains. I know Chris is going to hammer in a little bit more on the people. I do want to say before I talk about the AFWERX aspect, we hear this from so many people, and even on our podcast, we just had Trigger. You brought this up. They view this training opportunity, this pipeline, as life changing. And it's just a real rewarding experience to hear that from so many different people coming through the pipeline, saying that coming through this training literally changed the perspective on life, on the military, on whatever. It's awesome experience. It's awesome to hear stuff like that. I've sent some people to train before as a flight commander, some Microsoft Excel training, pick your favorite. And most times they don't say that. So really glad to build something, create something that has that kind of impact. But I'd say, some things that we're able to do. I'd say two big things we're able to do here in AFWorks because of this program. So you talk about the ROI here to AFWorks. We would not be able to run our SrA Sitter program without the graduates from DVP, without our network. So most people probably don't know this, but we run the Small Business Innovative Research Program, the SBR STTR program, and we actually farm out a lot of the grading because we get so many packages because of our open concept that we leverage AFRL technical experts to grade the technical side of things, and we leverage our community to grade some other portions of that. And without our DVP grads, we would not be able to execute as many contracts, bring in as much emerging technology into the federal government. And probably the other big one I'd hammer in on would just be the jointness. Because this is a joint program, it makes it so much easier to partner with our other joint partners. You see this sometimes, and I talk to some people that are trying to execute joint programs, and they're starting it out, and they're like, what do I do? Do I Google U.S. Army? Like, do I Google the Navy? Like, who do I even start with? We're so siloed in the Air Force a lot of times that it's hard to even communicate across bases or across your own career field, nonetheless across the different DoD entities. So having this joint partnership on a training opportunity that provides them value, us value, makes it so much easier for us to partner on other things. One example of that is going to be vision. So we've got a product tool that we're rolling out that we've rolled out that is trying to help people collaborate more. And we're able to partner with the Navy and the Army because we're not calling them like door-to-door salesmen saying, hey, we want you to pay into this thing and do this thing. It's, hey, we've been partners for 2-3 years now on this awesome program. And it's just so much easier to open the door to these other opportunities that exist out there. So those are some selfish reasons. I know Chris is going to tackle some of the more personal type stuff. So love to hear what he's got to say.
Yeah. So Chris, when you mention that, what comes to mind when you're talking about kind of that personal aspect of it? Because that's a great rundown from Garrett. I think it's one of those things that people need to know more, not just what DVP is, but best how to expect something from it, and what is that end state, what happens afterwards, and which I think really leads into the wins.
Yeah, I think it's it's been an interesting journey. We always said, I mean, it's still one of the things we say is you bring innovation back to the Department of Defense. And what does that actually mean when you say that? And I think it's first a mindset, right? Like the thing that we really try to deliver for folks is this idea of I am, I can, I will. Right. And so many times in the jobs that we have, we stop at the I can because I will is hit with a giant no wall. Yeah. And in order to get to where we need to get to, right, where we will now, you need to get to I will. You can't, no organization is going to innovate saying they need to do this so I can do my job better. Like that is not how innovation ever works. And so it's a mindset, and the manifestation of that mindset when we release these fellow beasts, these innovation beasts back into the military, they run in so many different directions, and we can talk about the way that they can leverage the relationships they have with the private sector. We can talk about the tools, things that blow the fellows' minds, 30-minute meetings, right? That's the thing. Like, it's one of the top 10, like, what? Like, do you know if I had 30-minute meetings every day, I'd have 50% more time to do stuff. Yeah. Right. How do these, and 30-minute meetings could work. Just say it's 30 minutes. We got to get it done. And there's so many different ways that innovation can manifest itself once you've unlocked knowledge and once you've unlocked the constraints. Yeah. And I think, that ends up being, it sounds abstract and it sounds wishy-washy, but like the thing that matters in every organization, the most valuable asset is the people. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And if you are not tuning I know our planes cost a lot of freaking money and all this other stuff, but like we need the people, and the planes don't fly if we don't have the people. Right.
It's like we had a powwow before this whole thing and agreed upon a statement of it's like we recorded an entire episode talking exactly about the importance of the mindset. The greatest weapon. I'll say it again. It's a line you'll always hear from me, from Trigger. the greatest weapon system we will ever have is between these two ears, not triggers, not just mine. It's talking proverbially anybody's ears, assuming you have ears. It's the brain. It's the creative mindset, innovative mindset of our airmen and guardians that are able to look at something and say, nah, we can do better than this. Like, is this really the best we can do? There's nothing wrong with asking that question. That's a great question. We should be championing the idea that somebody would look at something of our current processes and say, come on, we can do better than this, can't we? We can do better. Like, I love it. I love what you're talking about, Chris. So there's been major wins with DVP of what that is. One, to me, is having 200 some fellows out there across the DoD bringing forth this mindset, this perspective, this introspective, external perspective of applying their knowledge and lessons learned from that. Just like Garrett said, it's a life-changing program and mindset. And a comment really before, Garrett, with what you mentioned with the SrA process. Hold on, I got to zoom in because this is important. That is not a small process. That is a massive, like, there is a lot going on in AFWERX with the SrA and AFRL with the SrA process. It's a major thing, man. Major thing. Uh-oh. Garrett's doing that thing that is like, he's mouthing words. Hold on. Is this charades? I love charades. Go. I think he muted himself. He unmuted himself. Garrett, you're muted. There you go. Unmute yourself. Let's come back. Okay, well, Garrett's figuring out his mute button. Chris, when you talk about what that looks like for being able to have the knowledge and applying the knowledge to like a SrA process to evaluate incoming companies, I feel like somebody would look at that process and say, how in the world are you going to teach that in a couple weeks? But they just don't understand how you actually get that exposure. Would you mind explaining that a little bit? How you can go from not having that ability to having that ability?
The chrysalis, the catharsis. I think part of it is just being, one of the most important part of the Defense Ventures program is that it's full time. And in order for you to get out of your mindset and your habits, like removing yourself from your current environments and being put into a totally new place fires neurons that had been chilling out for a while, right?
Yeah.
So your whole brain is working. You're seeing things that don't make sense. You're trying to make connections. Over the course of this program, you're being exposed to new ways of operating, new ways of making decisions. You have daily conversations with guest speakers who are talking about how they think about companies. You have incubators and venture capital firms coming in and giving showcases. This is a new thing, Trigger, right? Where you will see pitches of like 6 companies and they will talk about their technology. And at the same time, I think one of the hidden superpowers of the program is, you're going through this with 25 people who are at about 20 to 25 different firms, and you're hanging out and you're talking and you're checking in, and it's like you're going to 25 different companies over 6 weeks, right? So you're just magnifying all of that together. And after you've done that, right, nonstop for 6 weeks, seeing, some of the folks who go to VC firms, they will see 80 pitches over those 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. You start seeing, imagine like how good, if you interviewed at companies or whenever you've done anything 80 times, that was tricky. Like if you bought a house 80 times, you would know how to freaking buy a house. Right. Like as opposed to doing it once. And so it's just doing that. And so when you look at things like understanding the ecosystem, the fellows not only understand what the technology means, they also have an idea of what the marketplace looks like, what the competitors can do. They have some high level understanding of like what the needs are and how the thing could work well. And it's also just fun, right? Because you're taking something you just learned and got excited about, and someone's asking your opinion professionally about like something that's really important to the mission.
Yeah. As you talk about that ability to be able to identify and evaluate, you have a killer point there. If you've done something 80 times, you're going to have an idea of how to be able to do it. And we have, as a guest appearance, well, of course it's guest because we're all guests really here, but a special guest who's had to go through that himself, had to go through that process of identifying, hey, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? Pitching to leadership, trying to get the ball rolling with it. Somebody who just yesterday we released his Disruptive AF podcast episode. Boom. Noah Morales, the guy who has the IntelliLocker. Now, if you haven't been following along with this, this is another major win. And this is why we bring these things together today, is literally because when you talk about what DVP does, Chris and Garrett, in the mindset of being able to identify and assess and look at companies and see, hey, will this work? If this isn't going to work, what will work? How do we make this happen? What's going on with Intelligent Locker that is going on at Robins Air Force Base with Noah and the team that's been supporting him there, and Lieutenant Colonel Jay Viscara, who really kind of launched him into this capability. That's exactly what he's had to do, real world, real time, in evaluating technology, integrating it into how do we get this done? What are the steps that we have to take? And just not taking no for an answer, not in a in a negative way, but not taking no for an answer in the sense of there is the ability to be able to solve this. Noah, welcome, friend. This is totally fortuitous we would have this conversation with you, because you got some wins too that pair very nicely with DVP and what's been going on with DVP Fellowship. Over to you, Noah. What are the wins with Intelligent Locker? The mute button also struck Noah. I don't know why. Here you go. Hold on. Boom. Noah, you there? Yes.
Yes, I'm there. Can you
awesome.
guys hear me?
Yeah, take it away. Take it away.
All right, yeah, so a couple wins that we had here was we're the first pilot install here at Robins Air Force Base for the Intelligent Lockers.
Yeah.
And what that will provide for the airmen on base is 24/7 access to all their packages coming in. So it really helps out, all the airmen on shift work and crew chiefs, security forces officers. So, yeah.
That inside itself, kind of like I mentioned to Garrett, that's the SrA process, not a small deal. Airmen being able to get their packages the same day, not a small deal. I have Amazon expectations, Noah.
Yes.
Meaning when I order it, it better be there in 24 to 48 hours. And if it's not, something has gone wrong in the world. And I don't know. That's just my expectation. But why has that not been the expectation for the longest time for airmen? Why is this a new idea? Because somebody may look at it and say, okay, why is getting a package in 24 to 48 hours a big deal for you guys? That happens for the rest of the world. But that's not true. That wasn't true until you showed up.
Yeah, so, honestly, it was a problem set. And like Trigger said, I walked past the problem and I said, there has to be a better way that we can get our mail. There has to be. Because just because I'm in the Air Force and live in the dorms on a Air Force base, why can't we have the same commercial technology that is outside the gate and bring it into the base? So, we talk about the capabilities of different technology. I mean, I had to evaluate different companies. I had to, similar to the Defense Ventures program, I was probably contacting 20 companies at one time, trying to get meetings, Zoom meetings, just to evaluate their products and do a lot of market research. Lieutenant Colonel Viscara and Lieutenant Colonel Trimble, Innovation Chief here at the 461st Air Control Wing, they really helped out. And I think it's because of the Defense Ventures program that they were very knowledgeable in the tools and the resources that they had. It's because of DVP. So I just want to thank DVP, because without you guys, they wouldn't be spun up as much as they were. So.
Look at that shout out. It's like we planned this. We legitimately did not plan this at all. Jay, actually, it's so funny you say that, because Jay and I, Jay Viscara, Lieutenant Colonel type guy, he was in my cohort 3, the greatest cohort to ever go through Defense Ventures Fellowship. He was. I'll just add you guys. He was literally. We were paired with the same VC fund. It was Catapult. It was awesome because we learned so much. Oh my gosh! No wonder you're such a rock star, Noah. Is because you are a secondary product of DVP. Look at this.
Yes.
Look at this. We didn't even know it. Chris, legitimately, how does that make you feel? Because I didn't realize that until just now. This was not intentional.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it's the law. It's the law. It's called network scale, right? When, if the premise is we can get the folk, who are the guys and gals in Mark Zuckerberg's, like, machine learning, hardware coding class in Harvard and see where they are. Like, is that the place where the spark, started? And I think the cool part is the second order effects, the third order effects, the first order effects of being able to just kind of give people the energy to make this change happen. You're going to see these things and they're going to compound.
Yeah.
Honestly, right? Not only you have folks like Jay who is unlocking this for the airmen around them, but also like seeing people and pushing them through into other programs. You're paying it forward and everyone wins, right? This is the cool part about this, which is like it doesn't matter, like, honestly, who gets it, because everyone's now getting their mail. I'd love it. You take my mail. I don't want my mail anymore. So if I can send it to the locker, that'd be great.
That's awesome.
It's gonna keep happening, right? Like,
yeah.
I bet it's, we bring a whole bunch of people. Like, the change part of the DVP program was to identify change agents.
Yeah.
And, the thing I used to say back in the day was, there are iconoclasts, there's tweakers, and there's custodians. And the thing, iconoclasts like Elon Musk and stuff, the world can only have a few of them, because if there's too many Elon Musks, like, things will go crazy. Yeah. But the tweakers are the people who like make the world better around them, right? That's the mindset that we want. Like, everything they do, no matter where they are, no matter what seat they're in, they're going to see those opportunities and they're going to try to change the environment. Yeah. And the thing we want to do is make people less like a custodian, more like a tweaker, more like and if we get one iconoclast, one or two, this is something Tony Perez used to say, like, if we could get one of them and they change the direction of the Air Force, I don't care how much money we spent, like, we've won. Yeah. If there's some way we can like jump on that contrail.
Yeah.
Well, and Trigger, actually, if I could dive in on that too.
Please do, Garrett.
It's interesting because it all ties together. It's all fascinating how it does, because some people would look at Noah and be like, Noah, that's not innovative. You just took commercial technology and applied it to the government. And my response is, who cares? Like, who cares? Like, this is a problem that airmen have. Noah is sick and tired of walking past us every day, seeing what's happening on the private sector, not pulling into federal. It's just a real problem. So, like, what should we be doing? How about this? Solve real problems for real people. Right. And there's clearly an example where, like, is it innovative? Honestly, who cares? Like, it's a real problem that Noah got after, solved. And, like, you don't have to go through DVP to do some of these things. I like these second and third order effects, but, like, it's almost, what's that movie, Zero Dark 30, where, like, the guy walks in the room and he's like, look around. Like, there's nobody else coming. If you don't catch this bad guy, like, it's not happening. Right. And I feel like a lot of people in this innovation space take that mindset where they're like, why not me? So I really like that quote from Chrysler. What is it? Like, I am, I can, I will. I like that. It's like, dude, don't wait for somebody else to solve. We will. Yeah. Like, don't wait for somebody else to solve this. You can do this. You can do this right now. And it doesn't have to be, pulling in AI and putting it onto an F-35. It can be as simple as just making somebody's life better at the tactical level.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it could start with lockers. Like, we don't know where this is going to go. Right. Like, it might start with lockers on Robins, and then maybe this is like the entire DPO thing gets changed, and like mail, like multiply, like pilots, prototypes start with a piece of paper with an image of the way the world could be, and then we put it into the wild, and then certain ideas take off and move forward, and you don't know what this actually ables to unlock when you change the way that people used to do it, and then things reorganize, and it could lead to something totally crazy that we never saw before.
Well, and take that even further. I would. It's not just about the idea; it's about the person. So, solving problems within the federal government, within a bureaucracy, it is not anything that anybody is born good at. It is a muscle that the more you work, the better you get at it. So now Noah's working to solve smart lockers. What else are you going to do next? And that's not a real question. You don't have to answer that right now. I'm not putting you on the spot. But the point is that you've got an airman that's now spent his time busting the bureaucracy.
Now,
he's getting
what are you
good
doing?
at it. And now he has the skills to be able to do more of this. So, Noah, if you got an idea on what you want to do next, I'd love to hear it. I don't know if that's the purpose of this call. But, like, it's not just the idea. It's the person. It's the individual.
Right. Right, 100%. And that driving factor, Chris and Gary, you guys both bring up really stellar points, because this is, to me, what's happened with Intelligent Locker, and just proving that use case bids the question of, wait a minute, what else is out there that we are able to, now that we have a proven use case, not a use case in the sense of just a locker, but a use case in the sense of there was this capability that existed that previously was said, no, we can't do this. And we continued to press, and we found a way to yes, and now it's in existence, and now it's going to, literally after this, Noah's hopping off to be able to talk more about Intelligent Locker and other people, and talking to, the pitch continues of other bases. How can this go across the Air Force? And this is one of the things why I'd really encourage you to go back and not only watch the Disruptive AF episode talking defense ventures, but also just with Noah talking about Intelligent Locker and the pathway to that, because really there's no reason why this is not at every single Air Force base at all. It's already been proven. It can be done. So if you are an airman, or you're any individual that says, my gosh, I'm done waiting 2 weeks to be able to get my mail, listen, you can reach out to Noah. We'll show you where to do it. Reach out to Morpheus. Literally, you can email us, contact us, send us a message. We'll be able to do it. Noah, as we talk about this and kind of wrap this segment up with Winning Wednesday, what's next, brother? Because you do have huge wins. We've talked wins of DVP. We're talking wins of now the secondary, tertiary order of effects of the impact of DVP with you and Intelligent Locker. What's coming up with you? What's your next win?
AFWorks Incubator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of AFWorks Incubator, yeah.
Speaking of AFWorks, yeah, Incubator. Gonna learn the skills to be able to enterprise this across the whole Air Force. So really excited to go to Washington, D.C. and work with some of the best minds in the innovative space.
That's right. That's right. And you can say, people can say to yourself, wait a minute, what are you talking about, Air Force Incubator? Listen, this guy coming up at a place oh so soon, we're going to be talking about the Air Force Incubator, Spark Incubator, and what that looks like, and how we're going to be able to do that moving forward. To our guests for Winning Wednesday, listen, everybody, thanks so much. Chris, Garrett, Noah, Trigger. I'll talk to myself in third person. It's been great. Thanks for bringing your wins, gentlemen. We're going to be talking Air Force Incubator, Spark Incubator coming up very soon of what Noah's taking part of. So be looking forward to Garrett and I. We'll bring you the info of what's taking place. Friends, enjoy your Wednesday. We'll see you on Friday.
See you guys
for Fail Fast Friday. See you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.